morning, everyone. Monday is back, and so is your dose of Monday Health Booster. First of all, let me wish you a very happy World Parents' Day. Yesterday was this day, and this is such a significant responsibility. We are handled as an adult to parent a child, and of course, it also has connections with how we have been parented. So, parenting is a responsibility which is passed to us without any knowledge. And in Ayurveda, why are we talking about this? Because nothing can bring you more stress than your internal family stress, right? Outside, when you're working, you still have your boundaries, you have, your understanding about, what your roles are. But in parenting, obviously, there is no information given about how to do it. This child you have been handled by God is a mixture of both of you. And in some cases, you're alone for parenting. So, in any way, I have seen a lot of stress and impacts on health when the kids are not doing good, to the extent that some people even have health problems because they are not able to manage their kids, right? So, on World Parents Day, let me give you top 3 tips on how to be a better parent. And you can also use the same tips to understand your parents. Tip number 1 is pay attention to how your child is behaving and who your child is, rather than projecting an image of how he needs to be. So, for example, if you know Ayurvedic psychology, then if your child is a fire type or a pitta type, right, and gets angry and agitated with every conversation of yours, so it is better to change your tactics. Instead of talking when the child is agitated, to give him some food to calm down. For example, cucumbers are good to give to kids to calm down. Melons are good to give to the kids to calm down because they just calm down the fire. And of course, the second thing could be you could go for a walk and let the child behave in the way the child is behaving, calm down yourself, and come back if you're a fire type too. Because two fire types, when they're talking, they have a lot of sparks and arguments, but no conclusions come out. So here you can see that how important it is to know Ayurvedic psychology in order to be a better parent, because when you can understand your kids instead of constantly pushing them, criticizing them, then your parenting goes way much easier. Second tip. Second tip is very, very important because it pays attention to the family lineage of your behavior, right? So, how the members of your family have behaved, especially your mother and father with you, and what impacts it has created within you, which you have passed on to the child. For example, maybe your parents were in a very challenging situation in poverty and expected a lot from you. Maybe they wanted you to be in a high position in the office or something, because back those times were different, and today the times are different. So your parents pushed you a lot for good, and this always made you feel that you're not good enough. So somewhere you're expecting that perfectionism which you can't perform. And then what happens is that the same perfectionism and pressure, you pass it to your child even without words, because the child feels that you're not satisfied with yourself. So even if you might speak out words saying to the child that, okay, you are good enough, you are beautiful, but you don't feel it deep within, then the kids have similar problems. So while you're observing your family lineage, it's nice to see what are the 3 positive behavior and the 3 negative behavior which is carried in your family, which could probably be passed to you, to your child, and take steps how to really open up this topic and talk to your children about your childhood and give them the understanding of why you behaved in a certain way before, right? Even understanding calms down the kid, so the kid has this understanding, like my mom behaves in a certain way because this happened in her childhood, and it makes it easier for the children. So communication is really important with the kids. They need to understand a lot, and when you talk to them about stuff what has happened in the family, it is really, really useful. Tip number 3. Tip number 3 is very, very important. Do not expect a perfect picture. The perfect picture comes from fairy tales. In fairy tales, everything is just perfect and then something goes wrong and then it gets perfect again. So the images which are in our mind with the stories and with the fables are almost things and families which don't have problem. But let me tell you, with my years of consulting, all the families have problem, and there's this tendency about not talking about it or not confronting it, which seems like everything is normal. Very interestingly, a student of mine told me that she consulted a friend of her and found out that she was bulimic, and she knew this girl for 10 years, but the girl never told her because it was not connected to her. And as she became an Ayurveda consultant, then she was told this information. So in this way, most of the things are not told to you, and from outside every family looks perfect. So do not have this imagination of a perfect child, a perfect husband, a perfect parents, because they only cause pain. Mother the child you have been given and accept the family in which you have been born, understand that family and try to communicate and build good connections to the level it is possible, right? So in this way, as your relationship with your parents will improve, naturally the relationship with your kids will also improve because the energy is flowing. So that is really important, and it seems a little bit difficult, looking at all of these topics, but parents are the soil in which the kids grow. And that's why when you are making yourself healthier, happier, more vibrant, your kids naturally get it, rather than those words or those expensive trips you take them. Try to work on yourself, and that will really make such a big difference as a parent. And that's all for this Monday Hair Booster, and I hope you got some useful insight. It is very important to spread this information about parenting because, not every person is talking about it, but this information is required everywhere. So, like the booster, so it can reach more people, and I will be back next Monday telling you more about the beautiful science of Ayurveda and this beautiful body we have been gifted with. Thank you and bye bye.